Hey, viewers. Thanks for tuning in. Why you need to start homesteading if you're 40 or over. Uh, Homesteading is physically demanding. So that's one reason that you would want to go ahead and start now. As you get older, you just can't do the things that you used to do when you were younger. Another thing is it requires unique skills and skill sets and knowledge base. And as you get older, you do gain more experience and knowledge. So that is helpful. But I would say go ahead and wait until you're a little bit older, but definitely think about it, if you're 40 or over. And with that, you need to do some research into homesteading. Don't just jump into it. You need to kind of know what you're getting into. I've been into preparedness and watching YouTube videos for about 15 years. I spent a lot of time watching survival YouTube videos and then preparedness and also homesteading, watching a lot of shows like Homestead Rescue. That does help. I know it's TV, but seeing what other people go through does kind of help and give you some knowledge base, see what worked for them, see what didn't work for them, and you can kind of get an idea what you're in for. It takes time to homestead. Another reason to do that while you're 40 or older, or before you're too old. It takes time. uh, our property was virgin land when we got it, so we had to do all the clearing and everything ourselves. So again, that's physically demanding. Another reason that you would want to do that um, sooner than later. And with ours, we had a lot of trees that we had to clear. We bought a mill so that when we got our cabin, we could mill our wood and do our own interior on the cabin. So that's pretty physically demanding. You got to move logs around, move sawed lumber around, just move trees around and burn brush and just all the things that it entails. So these are some different things that you need to think about when homesteading as well. On that note, homesteading can be whatever you think it to be. It could be off grid, like with us, we don't have any power, so that means we need a wood stove and we have our propane heater and then our propane that we cook with. Or you could be on grid and it could be just new land that you bought and you're building from the ground up like we did. Uh, you need to do your research and decide what it is that you want to do. Do you want to be off grid or do you want to go ahead and buy property that has a well and power? And, in my mind, it's still homesteading, but you have those creature comforts. So, again, research is going to be one of the key things that you need to do um, in any aspect of this. You got to go into it with at least somewhat of a plan. Um, at least a partial plan. We didn't have a full plan when we did our uh, homesteading operation. We had already talked about it, and I kind of had a plan in my mind for what we were going to do. I knew what our cabin was going to end up looking like. I knew, what I wanted it to look like. I had an idea of how to lay out the land, some different things like that. You can't plan everything. You can't plan for everything. You just, none of us are perfect, but the more planning that you can do, the better. Um, don't just go into it willy-nilly. We bought our land sight unseen. We looked at it from Google Earth, and we were living on our gold claim down in Southern Oregon. So we didn't have the ability to drive up and see the property before we bought it. But we did research in the way that we could with Google Earth. We looked at the neighbors around the property and kind of determined that based on what we were seeing, it would look like a good area, good fit. There were some other properties that we looked at, like in Idaho, that wouldn't have been a good fit. The land was too steep, terrain was too steep. Um, it looked like we'd have to go through a couple junkyards, right away through a couple junkyards for the easement road, and I just foresaw some problems there. What if the people were not friendly, those kind of things. So those are some considerations that you need to think about. Again, it's physically demanding. It requires a unique skill set, so you do need some skills. You do need some research. You don't need to. put a lot of research into it, I would say, but you do need to know kind of what you're going into. Again, we watched a lot of TV, a lot of Alaska shows, a lot of outdoor shows, which prepared us. You know, we moved up here and lived in a canvas tent with 18 inches of snow, and did that for about 6 months before our cabin was delivered. And then we had to work on the interior before we could move into it. So we pretty much were hardcore about it. Our neighbor down below us, we became good friends with, and I think we impressed them. You know, she said she was pretty impressed with what we had done. Um, so it can be done. You don't have to be necessarily a survival expert or anything else. Just do your research, and the biggest thing is start. You know, start doing something. Start getting some ideas on paper. Start figuring out what you want to do. Do you want to be off grid? Do you want to have have property that's got a well or got power? Just start now. Start something, and move in that direction. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you have any questions or anything or comments, feel free to comment. I'll help you out however I can. Um, Jessica would do the same. Again, stay tuned. We're going to be adding more content, fill in the blanks with all of what we've done to this property and everything that we've done so far. So, a lot more content to come.